The President, please be seated. The court is now in session, and we would like to hand over to counsels for Mr. Nguyen Chia to pose questions to the civil party if they would wish to do so. Counsel Sonarun, good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, and good afternoon, Madam Mom Som Eun. I am Sonarun, representing Mr. Nguyen Chia, along with my colleagues. This morning, counsels for the civil parties and co-prosecutors already put a significant number of questions to you already, but I have a few questions to clarify and to set the record of history for Cambodia. You are an intellectual. You have good accounts of what happened during the colonial regime and the Khmer Rouge. I have a question concerning this. You indicated to the counsels for the civil parties that you taught at Riech Sampir High School in Kampot. May I know how long had you been teaching at that school? Response: I don't remember this very well. I was teaching from 1960s until 1970 when I moved to Phnom Penh. Indeed, I had been teaching until 1970 when I moved to Phnom Penh. Counsel: thank you. You taught at Riech Sampir High School before you were transferred to Phnom Penh, where you taught at Sisawat High School. Is that correct? Please hold on until you see the red light on your mic before you proceed. The President, Madam Suwapati, could you please hold on? Indeed, wait until you see the red light before you respond. You may now proceed. Response: I was transferred to the Ministry of Education at the Department of Department for Writing Books, simply, not teaching. Counsel: thank you. From 1970 until the time when King Norodom Sihanouk was toppled down on the 18th of March 1970 and all the way to 1975. Were you aware whether there were some refugees coming to Phnom Penh or not? If so, how many refugees were coming to the city? Please, if you do not understand my question, you may ask so that I can repeat or rephrase it. If you understand it, you may respond. Response: I'm afraid I don't understand your question. You may rephrase it. Counsel: from 1970 or early 1970, when King Norodom Sihanouk was toppled down through a coup d'etat all the way to 1975. Were you aware of, or did you see any refugees coming or moving out of Phnom Penh at that time? And if so, were there a lot of them? Response. At that time, I did not know whether people came to the city or moved out of town, but I noted already at that time that the country would face difficult times ahead. I was suspicious. Counsel, thank you. From 1970 to the time when then Prince Norodom Sihanouk was overthrown, and until 1975, did you notice that there was internal conflicts or wars? Response. During the Lon Nol's time, my husband was arrested. He was accused of being a traitor and other accusations, and he had been detained with another person and 2 professors. Question. I may wish to seek some clarification from you on this. As early as 1970 and until early 1975, during this 5 years period, did you notice that Cambodia was in war? Response. During this period, I only noticed that the country was in trouble. Question. Could you please be more precise? The country was in trouble. What do you mean by that? Response. It's because my husband was arrested during the Lon Nol's time, and I noted that that was not a good sign. The country would be in trouble already. That's why my husband was arrested. Some other bad things happened, but I couldn't recollect them all. Question. You stated that between 1970 and 1975 the country was in trouble. Can you please explain to the chamber by your definition that the country was in trouble? Was Cambodia experiencing some kind of wars or conflicts or else? Can you explain to the chamber on this, please? Response. I'm not good at history, but at that time when Lon Nol was in power. As indicated, my husband had been arrested and accused of being a progressive person or progressist in French. He was detained and imprisoned. Question: who detained and imprisoned him? Response: the police. The police who was stationed at the police headquarters who came to arrest my husband. He had been detained. A few days later, he had been arrested. A few days later, he was imprisoned. Question: I may skip this matter for a while and I would like to move to another question. From 1970 to 1975 and from 1975 to 1979, and as an intellectual, as a professor, did you ever hear or did you ever read any documents written about the death of refugees who left Phnom Penh or who took refuge in Phnom Penh during the time of fightings or during the conflicts during this particular period? Were you aware of this? Response: can you repeat your question, please? I don't think I get it correctly. Question: my apologies. As an educated person, did you ever hear somebody say, or did you ever read any documents like journals, magazines, newspapers about the death of refugees during the period of conflicts between 1970 and 1975? Were you ever aware of this? Response: you are now referring to the time after Lonol regime, I believe. Counsel Sonarun, I may wish to rephrase the question to be shorter and more precise. By early 1970s and until early 1975, indeed during the time when Lonol had conflicts with the troops under control by then Prince Norodom Sihanouk, the head of Grung. At that time, did you read or hear anything about the refugees, or whether you heard anything about the death of refugees during this 5-year period? Response: I noted that there were some demonstrations that took place behind Yukkontor High School. And then there was another demonstration at the railway station. Then followed by some uprising movements, and I already felt that the country was in big trouble because a lot of people were sorry that then Prince Norodom Sihanouk was overthrown by martial law during the coup d'etat. Students also were not happy about this. Council Sonarun, I have no further questions to you, Madam Civil Party. I thank you very much indeed for responding to all the questions. My colleague does not have any questions to put to you either, and we thank you. The President, we would like now to proceed to councils for Mr. Ieng Sari to put some questions to the Civil Party if they wish to do so. Council Ang Udam. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Your Honors. Good afternoon to you, the prosecutors and colleagues and everyone in and outside this courtroom. Very good afternoon to you, Madam Mom Sam Eun. I am Ang Udam and my colleague, Mr. Michael Canavas. We are representing Mr. Ieng Sari. For the time being, we do not have any questions to put to you. Nonetheless, we would like to thank you very much indeed for taking the stand to give your testimonies to search for the truth, and we wish you safe travel. Thank you, Mr. President. The President. Thank you, Council. We would like now to proceed to councils for Mr. Kyusumpon to put some questions to the Civil Party if they would wish to do so. Council Kung Som On. Thank you, Mr. President and Your Honors. On behalf of Mr. Kyusumpon and my colleague, we do not have any questions to put to the Civil Party. We thank you. The President. Thank you, Council. Madam Mom Sam Eun, as we already indicated early on this morning, that by the end of the examination or your testimony, then you would be allowed to express your suffering and the injuries, both physically and psychologically, before this chamber, indeed the harms that have been resulted from the crimes committed. If you wish to do so, you would be allocated some time to do it now. The floor is yours. Madam Mom Sam Eun, after the Khmer Rouge regime, I have been living with some medical implications. I have high blood pressure and I have been admitted to the hospital on several occasions. My eyes became very bad because I had not been wearing glasses for a long period of time, the time that I should have been wearing them. And my teeth were all very bad, and because of my health condition. And at night, I cannot really have a good night's sleep because I felt very uneasy. I am shaking a lot at night. I don't know what happened, and I have to go to the hospital a lot for some treatment. Every time I recall the events during the Khmer Rouge, it terrifies me all along. I also have problems with the pain in my legs because during the time of the Khmer Rouge I had the hemorrhoid, and it was not properly treated, and the result of which is it's very bad that it went without treatment for so long. Now it's too late to treat it. So this has a great impact on my health condition. And I can't stop feeling bad about how my daughters could have been treated until these days, because I learned from people that people who were killed were raped before the execution, and I felt that this could have happened to my daughters as well. When I was detained at the prison in Ksachulia Island, I was thinking of the event that a woman was stealing 2 kind of fruits and she found out to have stolen them and executed. The event is still in my memory every moment of every day. And I, at that time, felt that my turn would come. I would end up being executed like the woman I saw. And this memory is still haunting me. And I still keep longing for the return of my husband. I heard that people from Battambang would be killed and their bodies would be dropped at Phnom Sampho. So I am thinking about this, and I always feel very bad of what could have happened to my husband or children, because one of my children was believed to be working at a work site in Battambang, and since he disappeared, he could have been killed and dropped at Phnom Sampho Valley, and the child could have suffered great pain before the execution. And I always feel very bad about this. And I am still very terrified and traumatized by the fact that after the evacuation of the population of Phnom Penh, I was walking on the road. I could see that roads were littered with corpses. Every steps we walked and moved forward, we would then be close to seeing more corpses. And I had been deprived of my good sleep because of thinking of this. My properties have all gone. I have to send my children to school. Without anything left, I had to go to work and I have to lie about my age so that I could be recruited immediately and that I could send my children to school. Fortunately, my seventh daughter won a scholarship to study in the East Germany when another child won a scholarship to Czechoslovakia and another one to the Philippines. They helped me a lot to overcome these suffering somehow by knowing that they are doing very well. And one of my children is working. Indeed, the youngest daughter is doing very well and now working at a good institution. Indeed, without their well-being, I could never move on. The children of mine who still survive take turn in taking good care of me, and I live on the assistance provided to me by my children. However, I'm still feeling about my husband. I still think of what could have happened to him. I can move on with life because my children keep helping me emotionally, and without them I could never move on smoothly. But I still have sympathy towards my children who have disappeared or could have died during the Khmer Rouge. I don't know how I can forget about this. My children these days keep telling me to forget something about the past, but I can't. It's too difficult to do so. Every day I pray that I will never meet bad people like the Khmer Rouge again. Now the base people, the people whom we met during those days still keep coming to pay a visit to me, and that helps me a lot. Indeed, I have had a lot of problems, but my children and also the nice people we met or worked together during the Khmer Rouge keep coming to help me so that I could still move on. I thank you very much indeed, Your Honors, for this opportunity. The President, thank you, Madam Mom Som Eun. Your testimony now comes to a conclusion, and you are now excused. You may return to your home as you wish, and we wish you all the very best and wish you long life. Court officer is now instructed to coordinate with Vaisu to make sure that Madame Sivopati is returned home safe and sound. The President, next we would like to give the floor to counsels for the accused persons and other parties to the proceeding if they would like to make any observation concerning the statement of suffering made by Madame Sivopati. It appears to us that there is no such comment. Since it is now appropriate time for today's adjournment already, the Chamber will adjourn and the next session will be resumed by after tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 8th of November 2012. On Thursday, the 8th of November 2012, the Chamber will be hearing the testimonies of the expert concerning the medical condition of Mr. Ieng Sari, who is being admitted to the hospital at the Khmer Soviet Friendship Hospital. And please be informed that only the parties concerned are allowed to participate in the proceedings for the session on Thursday. The Chamber is not sitting tomorrow because the Chamber has some other matters to deal with during tomorrow. Security personnel are now instructed to bring Mr. Khieu Sampon and Nuon Chia to the detention facility and have them return to the courtroom on Monday, the 12th of November.